Well, it is officially a blowout in Bethpage, New York. Europe continuing its dominance at the Ryder Cup for the second day in a row. The Europeans winning both the morning foursomes and the afternoon four balls 3-1. They'll take an 11.5 to 4.5 lead into Sunday. Europe needing just 2.5 points on Sunday in singles competition to retain the Ryder Cup. Let's say hello to Pztrick, McDonald, and Jason Sobel and get right into it. Pztrick, how would you describe what you've seen over the first 2 days of Bethpage Black?
I would say we're seeing possibly the best European Ryder Cup performance ever. Maybe one of the best Ryder Cup performances in totality between the United States and Europe. You look at the performances from some of these guys and the statistics that they've put up. They're the first road team ever to sweep the first four sessions. They're the second team ever, both road and home, to sweep the first four sessions. They take the largest lead ever into Sunday singles. They have history on the line, Russ, on a number of multitudes. They could go down as the best European Ryder Cup team. Luke Donald could go down as the best European Ryder Cup captain. Rory McIlroy, potentially the best European player, too, when you think about his majors alongside Nick Faldo, too. And possibly, Jason, the first to 20. We saw 19 a few years ago at Whistling Straits. I am sure that is on the mind of the Europeans going to bed tonight.
Well, Pztrick, you took the European perspective there. I will take the American perspective, which is this is massive disappointment. This is utter domination from the European side, which means that the U.S. is just absolutely getting blown out. They've gotten outplayed in all four sessions, losing each one of those. They've got 4.5 points going into Sunday singles. That's fewer points than the Mets scored runs today here in the New York area. I mean, it's just, I don't know where to place the blame, and I know we're going to get into this a little bit. It's not all on Keegan Bradley. It's not all on Scotty Scheffler, who's 0-4. It's not all on the decision-making. It's not all on the players. It's not all on the course setup. But that's a lot of things, Pztrick. You put them all together, and boy, it just adds up to, like I said, it's just complete domination on the European side so far, Russ.
Yeah, look, Jason, you know the talking points here because Scotty Scheffler came into the weekend, top-ranked player in the world, best player on the planet, and now he's got the singular distinction of being the only person to go 0-4 in the first four sessions of a Ryder Cup under the current USA versus Europe format. Where does the balance lie between the world number one underperforming to expectations and the Europeans, maybe specifically Justin Rose and Tommy Fleetwood Saturday afternoon, just being too good?
Look, I don't care if you take Jack Nicklaus and Ben Hogan and put them up against Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose in this afternoon's four-ball match. They weren't winning that. It was Fleetwood and Rose who outplayed anyone that was going to be against them. So this isn't all on Scotty Scheffler. But look, you're the best player in the world, not only 0-4 this week, but now 0-6-2 winless in his last 8 Ryder Cup matches going back to 2 years ago at Rome. I don't know how to describe it other than, Pztrick, we've made these Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods comparisons in the past, and we talk mostly about his individual play in major championships, and there isn't anyone that we've seen this dominant since Tiger was in his prime. Maybe there's another comparison to be made in that Tiger wasn't a very good Ryder Cup player, only played on one winning team. And boy, Scotty's trending in that direction right now as well.
And it really goes for all the stars throughout the Ryder Cup history on the American side. You think about the Europeans' perspective, they really rely on those veterans, like a Justin Rose, like a John Rahm, a Tommy Fleetwood, those guys who have been there and done that. And then you kind of look from the American side, and it's always like, oh, if this rookie could play well, if that rookie could play well. Like, let's slow the roll a little bit. What if our best players could also play well? We know no one is more disappointed in his performance than Scotty Scheffler. He was just out on the range behind us. The European fans, they're having plenty of fun tonight, chanting right behind him as he's trying to get dialed in before Sunday singles. But I think there are a few combinations for why Scotty Scheffler is playing so bad. The course setup, Jason kind of alluded to it. It has lended itself to a bit of a putting contest. Scotty Scheffler has not putted well so far this week. And then the format in general, Scotty Scheffler, more of a marathoner, a guy who's going to be on the leaderboard day after day on the PGA Tour, but in an 18-hole match, it can get away from him very quickly. If you don't start fast, things start moving a little bit, and we've seen that happen every single match for Scotty Scheffler, the first player since Europe joined the Ryder Cup to go 0-4-0 across his first 4 matches, and the first world number one to ever do that as well.
Pztrick, look, there's only so much Keegan Bradley can do. Once his players are out there on the course playing, he can set things up. But if this does turn out to be what it looks like it might turn out to be, which is one of the biggest blowouts, if not the biggest blowout in Ryder Cup history, where's the second guessing for the captain going to come?
Oh my gosh! Pick any subject you really want to touch
Patrick,
on.
where's the second guessing?
I think the second guessing begins with the Netflix executive producers for putting him on full swing and essentially handing him the captaincy. I think it starts with the PGA of America for not conducting one single interview, let alone calling Keegan Bradley. They just called him on a random day, Jason, and they said, Keegan Bradley, you're our guy. You're going to lead us to Bethpage Black. And they put Keegan Bradley in a horrible position. Being a captain, we have seen the masterclass that Luke Donald has done since he was named captain in August of 2022. His team has never trailed in the Ryder Cup, Luke Donald, that is. As for Keegan Bradley, he's still a world-class player. He's still a top 15 player in the world. He's juggling the PGA Tour responsibilities as well as the Ryder Cup responsibilities. I think early on he got a few pairings wrong, especially that Colin Morikawa-Harris English pairing. He didn't put his players in the best position possible. The course setup as well, maybe not that great. But this was just such a tall task from the start.
For me, Patrick, it's less about a certain pairing playing or a certain player not playing a session or even the course setup. It's about big picture. And for me, it's the big picture of just the mindset of this team. There's a lot of tension, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress around all of these players to go win on home soil. We've seen each of the last 5 Ryder Cups until now won by the home team. And even starting on Monday morning, the team got here to Bethpage Black and they were playing the national anthem. They were having pep talks. They were rallying the troops. I mean, this was like, hey, we're about to jump into the Coliseum right now. And they were still 5 days away from hitting a ball that actually mattered. There's an old saying in golf, Patrick. It has to mean everything, and yet it has to mean nothing at all. And what it means is that you have to care wholeheartedly about the process and about the performance. But when you go out there, you have to be unburdened. You have to play untethered to anything else. Europeans have figured out how to walk that delicate line. The United States team, quite frankly, has not figured that out. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to change the captaincy, change the tone around the team and say, hey, you guys should try harder but try less. These guys want to win. And I know a lot of American fans are watching over the last 2 days saying the Europeans care about it more. That's not it. The Americans care. In fact, maybe it's a bit that they care too much. And I will acquiesce one thing. On the early wedge, earlier this week, Patrick and I got into a conversation about camaraderie, and I said, I don't care about camaraderie. I don't care who's better friends. I don't care who gets along. Just go out there and play good golf. Patrick, I was wrong. Camaraderie means a lot. You saw Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose hugging. You saw Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy sticking up for each other. We haven't seen a whole lot of that on the U.S. side.
I think I pushed back, Jason, and it feels a lot more natural from the Europeans and a lot more manufactured from the American side.
Look, the Americans were hoping to get a big boost from the crowds. The numbers have been there. New York has turned out. They want to be in it, but it's sort of like across all sports. If you're the visiting team, your goal is to take the crowd out of it as early as possible. The Europeans seem to have done that. The vibes got a little nasty, it seemed, on this day. Rory McIlroy taking some of the brunt of that and still coming through. Patrick, what did you see from the crowd interaction between the U.S. crowd and the European team?
I picked up that Rory group on that back nine when things really started to get heated and police presence started to really ramp up. Shane Lowry had to be held back from someone in the gallery who said something to him. Rory was giving it to him as well. I saw things on the golf course today, Russ, that I will probably not be talking about on air, just given what was said, what people were doing, and especially towards Rory McIlroy, just bringing up all sorts of things that you could imagine. And so, yes, I understand this is a New York crowd, and to their maybe, Jason, the PGA of America, it brought the Ryder Cup to Bethpage Black because of the atmosphere, because of the experience. They hyped it up the entire time. You knew fans were going to get rowdy. It definitely got over the edge today with what was said, and I think Justin Thomas and Cameron Young, to their credit, they tried to back up Rory and Shane Lowry on that back nine. But, Russ, it was something I've never seen on the golf course, and I hope to really never see on a golf course again.
Are we surprised by any of this? The PGA of America announced that the Ryder Cup would be coming to Bethpage Black 12 years ago, September 17th, 2013. I grew up 20 minutes from here, and the first thing I thought was, well, that's going to get out of hand. No one should be surprised at what was happening out here on Saturday afternoon. New Yorkers are brash, they're loud, and when the other team is playing well, they're going to try to get under their skin. It doesn't work when the other team, though, is Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, and we saw that. Poking the bear is not a good strategy from the fans here in New York, and it did get way out of hand, but again, if you didn't expect this, then maybe you've never been to New York, because quite frankly, this is exactly what I expected to happen. I'm glad that no one's really gotten in the way of interfering, that no one's climbed over the ropes and tried to fight Shane Lowry, that no one's...
They're fighting each other in the
fairway.
grandstands.
I know they are, but look, this is always what it was going to be. It's the Waterbury Open from Happy Gilmore just being played at the Ryder Cup here at Bethpage Black.
Yeah, like as the old saying goes, if you pray for rain, you better get ready to deal with the mud. Jason, the U.S. needs an historic comeback on Sunday. What you're going to be looking for most on Sunday in those head-to-head competitions?
Well, Russ, I'm a big believer in fate. I got a good feeling of... No, come on. I was going to do my Crenshaw, Patrick.
It was pretty good.
It's just, it's not there. I don't believe in it. I think what Patrick said earlier, the Europeans getting to 20 points has a lot better chance of happening than the Americans somehow getting to 14 and a half. But if I'm Keegan Bradley right now, I sit down in that team room with my 12 guys tonight, and I look each one in the eye and I say, you, Ben Griffin, do you think you can win a match tomorrow? And he says, yes. And I say, okay, you, JJ Spawn, do you think you can win a match tomorrow? Sure, I can win. Look, if all 12 guys can go out there and win their matches, maybe, somehow, there's actually a chance that this can happen, but I don't think it's going to. I think by mid-afternoon, we're watching some Chiefs-Ravens on CBS, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, you took my line, right? There's a number of things I'm looking forward to. NFL on CBS, naturally, that's going to be a great game. Also, Steelers in Ireland before the Ryder Cup kicks off. Nice little appetizer for you. I'm looking for that Europeans to get to 20. I think they really have Whistling Straits and what happened there in Wisconsin on their mind. Really a little bit of revenge for that throttling that a lot of this U.S. team was a part of. And then I'm also looking to see who's got a little fight from the Americans. Who wants to show up and be there? Who is really proud to wear the red, white, and blue and isn't going to go down with the tail in between his legs? And then finally, I would say is I'm interested to see what this crowd looks like. New York football fans are used to leaving after the third quarter. We might have the same experience here tomorrow, Russ.
All right, Patrick McDonald, Jason Sobel, stay safe out there tomorrow. Hopefully, final day of the Ryder Cup. And who knows? Maybe we'll get some history. Probably not. We'll see. For more great golf content, check out The Early Wedge at CBS Sports' premier golf podcast. Watch The Early Wedge live on the Sportsline YouTube channel or find episodes in the Early Edge podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts.